grew up on late-night warnings.
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
Scared, straight.
This is your brain. This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
And were inspired by movies that defined a generation.
We were all pretty bizarre. Some of us are just better at hiding it, that's all.
Hey, Doc, we better back up. We don't have enough road to get up to 88.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
I feel the need for speed.
We found our attitude in comedy.
I'm Gumby, damn it.
You see that sign?
No shirt, no shoes.
No dice.
Right. Learn it. Know it. Live it.
And our identity in pop culture.
I want my MTV!
I want my MTV.
I want my MTV!
Who you talking about, Willis?
Keep your feet in the ground and keep reaching for the stars.
This is Gen X Men with Bill Rowland and Gary Dollarhide.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
All right, episode number 19. Bill Rowland here, Gary Dollarhide there. Welcome in, everyone. As promised, we will have the travel wrap-up story from this past weekend as we continue to still dig out from everything else. We'll talk about Gary being anxiety-ridden from a Netflix. It was Netflix, right?
Yeah, it was live on Netflix, and
Netflix,
boy, was it something.
Yeah. So we'll get to all of that. Maybe I'm going to say like 20% chance that we have a special guest. My fiance Carrie said she was going to pop in. We'll see. She was asked last night because I did the setup to see if it would work like with her in the same room. She wanted to be like, "Oh, just come in next." I'm like, there's not enough. This room is not wide enough for two heads to fit on the camera size. So I messed around and we had it figured out where she could, had her own microphone and everything, but she has to use her iPad for the camera because I don't have a second camera to use. And then this morning she's like, "What time are you guys going to go?" I said, "Well, probably about 9:00. It's 9:30 now that we're taping this." And she's like, and then this morning she was like, I'm not going to be ready. I don't look good. I'm like, okay, well, go to your stuff, whatever, drink your coffee.
Go prep.
Right. Whatever you have to do. And then if you want to, just walk in and we'll either pause it. If there is a pause, yes, there is a pause button. I see that now. Or we'll just, hey, that'll just be part of the episode is getting you set up to join us. It's fine.
So the question I have is,
yes,
knowing that she works in the school system,
yes, they're off.
How is she able to offer what?
For snow, they're off.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Oh, there's been no school all week.
Oh, well, I mean, I sort of get that. I figured by now be clear, like here, you can go back to school. So
no.
No? Okay.
They may not even go back. Well, I know we're in Prince William County.
Yep.
Fairfax County, those kids, they got off all week because they were off already Thursday and Friday.
Oh, okay.
Teacher work days. So they've just got a week vacation because obviously it's Wednesday when we tape this, they're off. I would be surprised if they went back tomorrow. I don't know. The roads are pretty decent in here. Here's the problem with everything. And I know people in other parts of the country are going to be like, what are you talking about? We got like where I am 6 to 8 inches of snow, which in and of itself would have been a problem. Now, it was well below freezing. So it's that nice fluffy snow that plows real easy and everything else. The problem was in the middle of the day on Sunday. It started snowing Saturday night here in the DC area about, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, somewhere in there, maybe even a little bit after that. So it snowed all night. Wasn't a big deal. We went out and were shoveling the next morning while it was still snowing and everything else, and it shoveled fine. It was no big deal. My snowblower would have gone through it in a good 30 minutes. That's another story. But then about 11 o'clock, I guess, Sunday morning, it changed over to sleet.
Oh, okay.
And so we got another probably inch or two of just sleet. And normally in Northern Virginia, you get that much snow. I was talking to a mutual friend of ours, Chris Jolly, the other day, and he said normally a day or two later, it's 45 degrees, everything melts, and it's just a muddy mess. Well, it hasn't been that way. We are setting records or tying records for the most consecutive days where the low temperatures in the single digits. So, like tonight, it's going to be -2. So none of this is really melting. I mean, you get direct sun, it's going to melt, but it's still just ice on top of everything because of all the sleet. So you go out to shovel and you can't. You have to break
chunk.
People have the icebreakers. We were using a pickaxe. Like literally you had to do that because your plastic shovel was not going to go through it. So we got our driveway cleared out, everything. I was out yesterday driving around because I had to get a repair part for my snowblower. So the roads are fine. The problem is none of the sidewalks, we don't have sidewalks in our neighborhood, but out and about, none of the sidewalks are clear because you can't dig through them. So anybody that's out there trying to do, like the plow came through and pushed a bunch of snow into our driveway. That's what I did all yesterday morning because I had literally a 2 or 3 foot high just berm at the end of my driveway that had to be removed before we could get out. So it's been all of that. So I'm sure people in Buffalo like, you guys suck. You should be able to do this. I agree. If it had not had the sleet, this would have been simple. It would have been no big deal. Fluffy snow. We usually don't get that. We usually get the wet, heavy snow. We didn't get that this time. We got the fluffy snow, but then the sleet on top of it. If you've seen pictures from Nashville with the ice and all that snapped everything, we got that sort of, except we had snow first.
Yeah.
So put that all together.
Well, I mean, you said Buffalo from here in Maine, we don't look down on you for what you're going through because what's going on here, we do remove snow very well. I mean, even today, as far as I know, there's no school delays or anything. They're on schedule.
Unbelievable.
But yeah, I just looked and there's no schools out that I can see. Now, maybe further upstate because this TV station's closer to southern Maine. Right. But anyway, so yes, for us, it started snowing a little bit on Saturday night. It didn't go full blown for us until late Sunday.
Okay.
And it snowed. But like you said, it's heavy, fluffy, right? Until Monday morning. And then we got the second wave on Monday night.
Okay.
So what we're dealing with, very similar, is we can move snow. The problem is there's so much volume from the previous storm, this storm, because I calculated 32 inches out there.
Wow.
Yep. There's nowhere for the snow to go, and it's not melting.
Right.
Like I woke up this morning, it's 4 degrees and -5 wind chill. Right now it's 10. It's not melting. So it's now hard crust, and it's wherever it is, it is. You're not going to shovel it out. It's not going to change anything until we can get some temperatures. And looking ahead, we're not getting above 20 for the next 2 weeks.
Right. Yeah. So, same kind of thing down here. We'll be in the low 30s, maybe late next week. And so you'll get some melt during the day. The problem is it's going to go down to 20
and freeze back over.
And then it's going to just freeze again.
So we are dealing with the same thing, which, we don't like either. So you guys are less equipped to handle snow and ice than we are. And I can imagine what a nightmare that is. I mean, nightmare for my poor dog. I took him out this morning and he has his particular places. He'll pee anywhere.
Right.
But he has his particular zones, and usually it's organic material that he likes to, have his bowel movements. Well, they are all gone. And so we get to him and he's staring up at a 3-foot snowbank.
Right.
And can't figure out what to do. And you see him look around, looks at me. I'm like, buddy, I got nothing for you. And he'll take off in a panic. Like, I've got to go find the next spot. And you can see it. I'm used to him now, how his rear end looks when he's holding it, trying to find a new spot. And he can't. So finally he'll just let go in the middle of the street. And I'm like, it's good enough, pal. It's good enough. So
sorry, no one's going to say anything. It'll be frozen like a rock in about 5 minutes. It's fine.
Well, I am a proper dog owner and I do pick it up.
Oh, good.
So,
okay.
Oh, yes. Others not so much in this area. I will tell you that.
Now, I'm surprised that, and because I only remember this, and maybe this is years ago before environmentalism became a huge thing, but I remember in Maine, now this is central Maine, so maybe it's a little bit different. They used to haul in literally dump trucks. They would remove the snow and then dump it in a lake somewhere. You guys don't dump snow anymore in the water?
Well, no, they will not dump in the water anymore.
Okay.
Your bigger towns like Portland, they have select fields out in the neighboring towns that they truck it out there and just let it go out there.
Okay.
Because of the salt and everything, they don't want to add that to the water because, as you said, environmentally friendly.
Right.
But that's also Portland because it's a large town with money. A lot of other towns don't have that money. So their best bet's just to keep scraping, pushing, and not haul it out because that becomes intensive.
I think this was probably they were removing stuff before salt was being put down. I think that's what it was just the initial, hey, let's pick this up. Then you don't have all the chemicals in it and you're just dumping it. Maybe not. Maybe there's no fish in that lake anymore. I don't know. But I just remember them taking the big, giant dump trucks full. And I would ask my grandmother, where they taking all this snow? And she said, well, they're going to go dump it in the lake to get rid of it. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, and you could do that. I mean, just knowing some of the town mechanisms at this point, it's not cost effective. I mean, you think big dump truck, but do you know how many of those running on diesel and everything else?
Well,
to clear the amount of snow that would be needed, like certain segments, like downtown Portland, maybe a smaller town where your grandmother was. Yeah, they'll spend the money for those small areas. Like we've got to get this out of here. Anywhere else, no. Right now, the town I'm in, Old Orchard Beach, it's one of the greatest jobs. They have these little track units that do the sidewalks, right? It just carves right through.
Nice.
But there's nowhere to put the snow because they don't want to throw it back on the street and you can't throw it in front of the houses. So they've just stopped doing that.
Nice.
So that's why I said we're walking on the road and the dog can't find anywhere to go to the bathroom.
So as promised, and I apologize, I'm sure people you got to get to this, dummy. You're 10 minutes in. You haven't even talked about it. My trip back. We talked last week on the episode saying that there was a possible travel situation. Now, all week long, it was at the beginning of the week, it's like, oh, I'm going to have to drive home. This is going to suck because you could just see the weather forecast. And as we got closer and closer, the window was opening.
Yes.
And I was like, this is amazing. This is going to work. So to recap for people, I had to go to Kingston, but Providence, Rhode Island. George Mason was playing Rhode Island on Saturday of last week. I was flying out on Friday from Reagan into Providence. And then the next day, the game was at 2. We had the last flight out from Providence to DCA to Reagan at 7:00 p.m. Okay. So I get to the airport Friday. And again, no issues, no worries there. We were flying out. Wasn't going to be a problem. As I'm sitting there, they have those tables now where you can plug in and people can work rather than just sitting on the, all the different chairs. So I sit down there going through some emails or whatever, and I see a flight attendant is sat at the table across from me. So I'm like, maybe she's on our flight. I can try to get like this is somebody who may know what's going on. So I just said, hey, I'm sorry to bother you. Are you doing this run from DC to Providence? And she said, well, no, I'm not working this one. She said, I'm working Providence to Reagan tomorrow. And I was like, yes. She was deadheading, basically. Yep. For those of you who know what deadheading is, she was in uniform. She was going to have a seat on the plane, but she's not working it. They were just getting the crew to Providence for tomorrow. That would have been Saturday. So I said, okay. I said, explain to her my situation. I'm trying to get here to here. I said, I know you're not in charge. So I said, I'm not going to hold you to this, but you're an experienced flight attendant. What are the chances we get out on Saturday? And she said, what's the flight number? Let me see. So I pulled up my boarding pass for the next day, showed her my flight number. She goes through and looks at something, messing with her phone. And she goes, well, your flight is Savannah to Reagan to Portland. And then it goes back Portland, Reagan to Savannah. She said, 90% you get out Saturday. She's like, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't. I was like, yes. Like almost guaranteed now. The flight attendant is telling me it's going to happen. So go through the game, whatever. Mason loses, so that has nothing to do with the story. But Mark LaFrance, who is our sports information director, his parents are fantastic. They live up there. They're the ones that picked us up from the airport in Providence. We stayed in Newport because we're fancy that way. I know, right? It's a lot cheaper in the middle of winter to stay in
Yes,
Newport than it is in July. I can guarantee you that. I saw the rates on the back of the door, and I was like, I know we're not paying that amount of money to stay here. But anyway, so his parents also drove us from Kingston after the game to the airport. We got there plenty of time. It was like 5:15, I think, when we got to the airport from the game. So it was, no big deal. We're an hour and 45 minutes. So we went up, because we're fancy this way, to the little, Mark had some credit card thing where he could go to the lounge and take a guest. So we went up to the lounge, had a drink, had some food. It was great. So 6:15. All right, we're supposed to board in 15 minutes. We need to walk. If you've ever been to the Providence airport, I'm sure you have. It's tiny. It's easy walk. It's not expansive where you can't get from one place to like. We got there plenty of time. So 6:30, everybody's kind of standing around. We see some other Mason folks there. They were flying back as well. They do the little, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting ready to get your flights on. First class passengers. You can board. Yeah, first class. And Mark, because again, he's got all the credit card points, had upgraded to first class. So he's like, all right, I'll see you on the plane. I'm like, no problem. We're getting out of here. This is going to be great. I sit in the very back. I would have taken a middle seat at this point, because I was like, I cannot believe this is going to work. I'm going to get home before the snow. It's going to be amazing. So we're standing there, and all of a sudden, you see and hear all these, like, on your phone, notification beeps. And you see everybody look down and then look up. And the board behind the, where they have the people that are checking you in, the board, the big video board behind them just says canceled.
Oh.
They loaded the first class people, and then we're like, nah, we're just kidding. Flight's canceled. Sorry. So we're all like, what the? There were a lot of F-bombs and other, like, one guy came up to me like a meeting. He's like, hey, did you just get this? And I'm like, yeah, this is a problem. We looked up, and he's like, you can't put people on a plane and they cancel the flight. He was livid. I didn't know who he was, but he was livid. So we're sitting there, and I turned to Chris Durlock, who's a Mason fan, donor. And I just looked at him and I said, let's run the car. We got to get out. Like, I'm like, I don't know what you're doing. I'm not getting stuck in Providence. I'm driving. However you want. You're like, you come with or whatever. He's like, already on it. And he had like his Hertz app like going. And Kathy McKay, who is the owner of Jim McKay Chevrolet, again, big donor, big fan. She was up there. She was going to be on the flight. She's like, I'll come with you guys. We're like, well, let's go. So we immediately went and got a rental car from Avis. This is an important detail for later in the story. We did not end up doing Hertz. We ended up doing Avis. So we get in I think it was a RAV4. I don't know. I didn't drive it. Chris drove it. Again, he was fantastic because he drove the entire way. So good for him. It was 5+ hours back.
How many of you were in the car?
I was in the car. Yeah.
No, how many?
Oh, just me, Chris, and Kathy. We're just us three. And they didn't have any luggage because they had flown up that day.
Mm-hmm.
They flew up that day, rented a car from Providence, drove to Kingston for the game, and we're going back that night. Like, so they didn't have any luggage. I was the only one that even had a bag. I was doing carry-on, so I didn't have a lot of luggage because I was overnight one night. So I hold on one second. I apologize. I'm getting text messages. Carrie, I'm trying to get her, was trying to explain to her how she could do that. And she said, I told her first, I said, hey, you got to get your iPad to come in here and you need headphones. She said, it doesn't work. And I said, well, I have an adapter sitting on my dresser. At first she said, I'll just skip this one. And I said, well, I've got an adapter on the dresser. You can use that. And then the text back, and I'll let you see this. I don't know if you can read that.
Sort of no.
There you go. How's that?
All right. My hair looks terrible. Okay.
Yeah. So
there we go.
Right. Anyway, it's just the three of us in the car. We're driving back.
On that, I was going to say, now that I know there's three of you, did you do the proper thing and you sit in the back, the two of you, and Kathy just be like, driver?
No, Kathy wanted to sit in the back by herself, so I sat up in the front with Chris to drive. And I didn't realize it until about 3 or 4 hours into the trip. No radio.
No.
You
got to pay for it?
No, we just never turned it on.
Oh, okay.
Like, I was like, because, you'd sit there and like silence for a bit because we were talking. I mean, Chris and I are talking, Kathy, we're, just about different stuff. And then at one point I'm sitting there and I'm like looking on my phone, like checking the radar and everything. And I'm like, damn, it's quiet in this car. I'm like, oh, the radio's not even on. Like, we never turned it on. It's fine. I didn't care. I was just kind of a weird thing. Like, oh, we never turned the radio on. So Chris drove the whole way. Again,
wow.
We get out of Rhode Island and onto the highway. It's just 95 straight down.
Yep.
I mean, there are no turns. There's nothing. Traffic got a little backed up going through New York, like GW Bridge territory, like it always does. Jersey Turnpike was fine. Everything. We didn't hit any snow, and we stopped at someplace in Delaware to, he wanted to get a drink, stretch the legs, go to the bathroom. It was fine. I mean, again, zero complaints. He did a fantastic job. We didn't hit snow until we got probably south of the Maryland portion of the Beltway.
That's impressive.
Yeah, no snow at all. Well, this was, again, probably it's midnight at this point.
Yeah.
Maybe even past midnight at this point, I guess. Yeah, it was probably past midnight at this point. So we drive. We finally get to Reagan, and we're returning the car. Where are we returning the car? Do you remember the company that I said?
Yes, Avis.
Avis does not have on property rental space at Reagan. We didn't know this. So we see rental car return, and he pulls in to the rental car return, and we're looking at the signs, and I'm like, dude, none of these say Avis. Like Hertz, Enterprise, even 6, whatever that is, that SIXT, whatever that, all of them, no Avis. I'm like, dude, this is a problem. So he's looking around, and of course, once you're in, there's no backing out because they got the tire things. So now we're just in the rental car. It's like 1:00 in the morning. We're in the rental car place. My car is in the garage because I had parked there to go. So my car is like a half mile up in the garage because I was like, don't drop me off. Like, let's return the rental car and then I'll figure it out. And then I'll go get my car and come pick you guys up. So we're looking. Finally, I pull out and go to ChatGPT, and I'm like, where's the Avis rental car at National Airport? Oh, it's off property. So I was like, dude, we gotta figure out how to get out of here. So we're looking all these different exits, couldn't find anything. Well, they had them blocked. They had, like, for some reason, security was parked in front of where, like, I guess when you drop your rental car off, you get an Uber or taxi or whatever. So they'll let the taxis through, and then you have to weave around and go out the back. Well, there's a security guy right there. So we finally flag him down. We're like, hey, man, like, we're just trying to get out. This is what happened. We didn't know that Avis was here. So he goes and moves the truck. And again, by this time, there's a couple inches of snow on the ground. It's coming down pretty hard. So then we get up, and the guy's like, just make sure you have your rental agreement. And he goes, you're going to need your driver's license and this stuff. So we get to the gate where the person is sitting. And again, the security guy's right there. And so Chris hands the guy his stuff. And the guy goes, what is this? And he's looking through, and the guy's like, just, they're at the wrong place. Just let them out. It's fine. The guy's like, I can't do that. And so these guys are arguing. Meanwhile, we're sitting in the car like, open the gate. Like, pull the gate up. We're not stealing the car. Clearly, here's the rental agreement. We're not stealing the car. Like, how would we pull it? The three of us? Yeah, we pull this big heist at 1:00 in the morning to steal a rental car. Like, are you out of your mind? Open the gate. So, I mean, they argued for a good 2 or 3 minutes before finally the guy, he was like, just open the gate. The security guy was yelling at him. He's like, they're fine. Let them out. So we finally get out. They drop me off at arrivals. So I have to go in and then up the elevator and across the bridge there to get to the parking garage where my car is while they're taking it back to Avis. Well, Avis is closed and there's no way to get the car into their lot. You had to park like just barely outside their fence. So I pull up, and again, it's 1:30 now, 1:45, close to it. There's nobody on the street. We're on Route 1 in Alexandria, but nobody's out. I mean, we didn't even see cops. So pull over, and I see Kathy gets out of the car. She comes in, gets in my car because I'm driving them to where they parked at Chris's office, which is just down the road there, maybe a mile or so from the airport, rather than Payne, which was smart. So she gets in my car and I'm like, "Where's Chris?" And she's like, "He's in there somewhere." And I was like, "Okay." So he had gotten into the lot to drop the keys off, but they didn't have a night drop at all. So like he couldn't find the box for it. So he ends up like was able to like open. This is really weird. Was able to open the door to like where the little kiosk thing would be. And he said he went in and just like hung the keys up.
Here you go.
Took a picture. Yeah, literally like said, took a picture of it, left the rental stuff and was like, I guess they'll figure it out. And then off we went. So I dropped them off at their place where they were parked. And then I had to go again down 95, probably, I think it was 25 miles down 95. So I started basically 395 off Glebe Road. I weaved my way over to Glebe Road and went down 395 from there. And it wasn't bad. I mean, they were snow on the ground, but I was able to do 40, 45 most of the way. So I was like, okay, could be worse. And again, I've got all 4 lanes to myself. I think I passed 3 cars the entire way, so it wasn't that big of a deal. So I'm like, okay, if I start to slide, I just let it slide, and I'll just weave over to one lane and back into another lane. It'll be fine. I'm not going to hit anybody. It was great. So then I get to the exit in Manassas, and I'm coming up. I didn't weave through like normally I would cut through like where, for people that are familiar with the area, Woodbridge High School is, or Old Bridge Road, right there, like 123. But those roads are very windy, and I'm thinking they haven't been touched yet. So I did the extra mileage, went down to 234. I live right off of 234. So I'm coming up 234 again. It's 3 lanes for the most part, driving pretty good. And then I see up ahead of me the blinking orange lights. So it's not police. Yeah, it's not police. And now I'm like, no wonder this road is pretty smooth. It still had snow on it, but you could tell it had been plowed because there's 5 plow trucks up ahead of me. So when I catch up to them, we're all now going about 8 miles an hour.
Of course.
Which is fine because they're plowing the road. But they're in the line where they're staggered. So one's in the far left, and then he's right on the bumper, and then the next guy's on the bumper all the way across. I have no way of getting around them. I still have 9 miles to my neighborhood. So yeah, that was my last 45 minutes of the drive was behind the trucks going between 8 and 10 miles an hour the entire way.
But you weren't in Providence.
I wasn't in Providence. No, trust me. When we got in the car to leave Providence, I said, I'm not in Providence. So that was the best part because Mark, our SID, who I had flown up with, I think he was still there yesterday.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't think he might have flown out yesterday. I don't remember exactly what he told me, but I know he was there Monday. I know he's still there Monday because we talked, and I was like, dude, this is why I drove home, because I was not going to get, I mean, and again, it was very nice. He said, you know what? You can stay at my parents' house. No big deal. And I was like, well, hey, I didn't bring a change of clothes. So I'm like, I'd have to like do laundry at your parents' house. And his parents are very nice. Again, every time I've met them, they're very sweet. But I don't want to spend 2 days
with strangers
house when I don't, like, I don't know. And they're like expecting them to feed me and everything else. I'm like, no, first off, I probably would have just stayed in the hotel because I would have stuck it to Mason for not having me on the charter. I'd been like, well, you guys didn't want me on the charter, so now you can pay for a couple nights of hotel. But
absolutely,
what I wasn't in Providence. I got home. By the time I walked in, it was now 3:30 when I walked in the house, and I was like, at least I'm here. But it was, to say the least, an adventure that last hour and a half. It took me an hour and a half to get home from Reagan. Yeah. And most of that was the 45 minutes up 234 to get to the neighborhood.
Yep. So 2 parts on that. I thought you were going to make the window because when you told me they counted the flight and I saw that, I was like, are you kidding me? Because no idea everything, we keep, I was on duty. We keep track of the weather because we have to make arrangements even locally. And everything said everything's going to be delayed because the snow storm didn't move as fast as they thought, so it's coming in later. I'm like, he's golden. And then all of a sudden you're telling me canceled. I'm like, what is going on? Like what? Yeah. Because I knew everything was fine here in New England. I'm like, it's an hour and a half flight. You know, they can cheat, make it an hour. It can't be that bad down there.
It wasn't.
And the other big always criteria is where was your plane coming from? But your plane was there. So that's what even made it even more odd to me. Like, well, the plane's there. They're not waiting on it. So for whatever reason. But as for the plow guys going 8 miles an hour, now
I know
these guys do a hard job. But it's not that. So for us, you know, I talked to the guy for the town I live, one of them. He was driving the backhoe that night. Cab, got the big scraper on the front. And we were talking about doing the parking lot at the station, moving cars. So I said, are you on all night? He goes, all night. And I could see he's got a carton of cigarettes on one side. He's got the cooler full of drinks down by his feet.
Coffee,
you can hear the he had the thermos. You could hear the radio. I mean, he was set up. He goes on all night. But you see that glint in his eye, like, oh, he's on vacation because no one's bothering him. He's just riding around, pushing snow. He's got snacks and everything set up. He is good for the night. And watching him, you know, he's being methodical, meticulous, and he's not, you know, breakneck speed. So imagine those guys in the bigger trucks with more space. You know, they probably got Netflix running, you know, got the Starlink on top, and they're doing internet while driving. Because at 8 miles an hour, you can just kind of, yep, we're still in the road.
Yeah.
Watch some more. Nope, we're still good.
Yeah, no, I had no problem. I don't blame those guys. They were just doing their job. It's just my luck that I ended up behind them. I watched the guy plow, you know, they had VDOT with the big giant, you know, front loader and everything too. The guy was out here, and I was like, that would actually be kind of fun. I think. I mean, maybe after an hour you'd be like, this sucks. But I think it wouldn't be bad to work for like VDOT, Virginia Department of Transportation, or, you know, MDOT up there in Maine or whatever, and plow snow. There are worse things to do, you know, and everybody for the most part should be thrilled to see you because you're going to help them get out.
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
I mean, that's the thing up here. These guys, they'll work 24, 36 hours straight, but you know, they camp out in their trucks.
Yeah.
But the real job, which I was talking about earlier, are the sidewalk guys. It's these little machines with the sidewalk. Yeah. Again, they set up in there. They're just driving the sidewalks. Because when you're plowing snow, you got to pre-think, like, you know, if I'm doing a driveway or something, I've got to push here, push there. There's a little bit more geometry to it. These guys, they're just running down the sidewalk like, right? And it's blowing it off to the side. Doesn't care. He's just doing the sidewalk.
As long as
the entire town.
They're
heated. They're heated.
Yeah. Then that wouldn't be bad either. But
and I've always said that's the gig I want. I don't want to drive the big trucks. I want to drive the little sidewalk clear that, you know, self-contained, and I'm just doing the sidewalks.
Yeah.
You can stop off at we have Cumberland Farms. It's like 7-Eleven. You just stop there, get your drink, keep going. So
yeah. No, I mean, I didn't have a problem with this, guys. I was just like, of all the luck, I was like, I'm going to make it home. Right. I'm going to be home before 3:00. This is going to be amazing. Nope. I was just like, oh, you got to be kidding me. But again, I mean, it was fine. Again, because I wasn't in Providence.
Right. But you did have the flashing light for that hour or 45 minutes, right? Behind them?
45. It was about
45 minutes.
Yeah. It was about 45 minutes of just staring. Yeah. The 5. And they actually, about a mile or so before my neighborhood, they actually turned around to go to the other strip of 234. Yeah. So like the last mile, I was able to go 30, but I was just like, this is unbelievable. And then my neighborhood wasn't bad. We must pay. I don't know. My HOA must pay for somebody to just like clear, you know, to clear the roads before VDOT gets through. Or this guy who lives in the neighborhood and was doing it on his own, which I'm okay with too. But yeah, the front, we have a pretty steep hill to get up to get out of the neighborhood. He had that completely plowed. He had a couple of the side roads that I had to go up completely plowed. It wasn't until I got to my street. And again, it was maybe at this point 3 inches, maybe. It wasn't until I got there that I was like, oh, this is getting a little hairy now. But pulled in the driveway, parked, it was fine. So,
well, here's what I don't. What are you driving nowadays?
I'm driving a Malibu. It's front wheel drive.
Oh, okay.
So it's fine. Yeah.
So yeah, you should have been fine 3 inches of snow.
Yeah, no, that's what I said. It wasn't a problem, but I was just like, this is going to get like by tomorrow, it was going to be serious. Like you weren't going to be going anywhere the next day. So
yeah.
And of course, there were the people that have their 4-wheel drives that are out they're driving around just to do it. And it's like, okay, well, good luck to you.
Well, I would say it would have been the time for you coming down 395 to do a donut with no one around you and take video of it.
You could
Right?
have. I mean, seriously, that's what I was talking about. Going down 395. I felt like if I start to slide, just lay off the gas,
Yep.
let it coast to its stop because I'm not going to, there's nobody out here to hit. So if I can't contain it over 5, 6 lanes, if you count the breakdown lanes, then I shouldn't be driving anymore. That's the way I felt about it. But I didn't see going down 395. I didn't see anybody wrecked. We saw one in Maryland. We came down the BW Parkway and then 295 down that way.
Yeah.
We saw one bad wreck where a guy had flipped his car already, and I was like, how do you do that? There's hardly any, like, it had just started snowing. There's less than an inch on the ground, but this dude had somehow flipped his car into a ditch. He must have been flying coming off the exit ramp and just like lost control, because I have no idea how he ended up in a ditch.
Well, having to deal with slide offs and the one rollover we had on Sunday night.
Oh yeah.
Of course, he was 16. Yeah,
Speed
if you
was a
don't,
factor, I'm sure.
speed is always a factor.
Yeah.
We talked about this the other day. Like, slow down, right? These are not normal driving conditions. You hit a patch, you will end up off the side of the road.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know how.
But
it
for
went.
all I did, everyone walked away. Everything was fine. It was just, you shouldn't have been driving that fast.
Right. Exactly. Dummy.
Where it was in the back, we just said there's no way you end up off the road, turned over because you were doing 15 miles an hour on a snowy road. So,
Right. Right. Exactly.
so I had to remind my son of the same thing driving in snow.
What is he driving though?
He has no car right now.
Okay.
But he's still, he lives 3 miles from work and he has yet to invest in one, but he's driving his mom's Subaru Impreza.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So Friday night we got some snow, and that was a story I forgot to tell you. We took him to see Rock of Ages over in Manchester.
Oh, right.
So he had to drive down in a partial snowstorm to get to us to catch a ride with us over to Manchester, New Hampshire. And I kept saying, it's not the same. You got to stay, keep
Right.
your speed under wraps and let everyone else do all the crazy stuff around you. So,
Exactly.
but he's been good with that. He's not a daredevil.
Well, that's good. That's smart. So yeah. So now I got a trip coming up this weekend. We go to Olean, New York, which means I have to fly into Buffalo on Saturday morning. And again, Chris Durlock, who drove back from Providence, he's going as well, trying to get on his same flight so that I can ride with him from Buffalo down to Olean. And then I'll stay in a hotel Saturday night. And then he and I will drive back up to Buffalo. So I've got to hope that I can get out. Right now, I looked, and there's no snow, there's no weather, there's nothing predicted for this weekend. So I'm hoping that I don't have to make the drive from Olean. Because here's the problem. Olean is south of Buffalo by about an hour and a half.
In the middle of nowhere, having passed
In the middle of nowhere. It's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So it's actually less miles from Olean to where I am than Providence to where I am. But if I end up having to drive to Buffalo and then turn around to, because, your flight can't get out, so now you got to rent a car. It adds an hour and a half to the trip. So I've got to be 100% sure that this flight is getting out, or I would have wasted my time. I could have just driven to Olean and then turned around and driven home.
And I was going to say the only other capture that you'd have to deal with on that is Western New York through Pennsylvania. You're dealing with elevations and
sure.
That would be the only hitch on driving on that side of the
but if it's
95.
not supposed to snow,
yeah,
those roads should be fine. Those people are used to it. So that's my only thing. So I gotta hope that nothing happens, because I don't want to spend a night in Buffalo. No offense to people who live in Buffalo. Don't want to spend a night there in the wintertime.
Jump over to Niagara Falls, see how the falls look in the snow.
I've been there, not in the wintertime. Actually, have we been there in the wintertime? I feel like we've done that before with the like not gotten out, but like I think you can see it if you drive by, right? Can't you see it?
Yeah, I mean a little
drive
bit.
through
Yeah.
there. Yeah. So
There's a way. Yeah.
I've been there in the summertime, so I've seen the actual falls and everything else. But yeah, I don't really need to do that in the wintertime. Not particularly, on my bucket list of, let's go see Buffalo in winter. Thank you. No, thank you. So hopefully this will be this weekend, the last trip that would involve a flight of any kind, unless we make the NCAA tournament or NIT and we have to go on the road somewhere and have to fly. Otherwise, everything else is a drive. You're going to St. Joe's, at GW, at Richmond, I think, at VCU.
Simple
so
stuff.
Yeah. It's all local. It's all day trips. Even I don't even have to stay overnight at all anymore. So just got to get past Olean this weekend, and I'm good.
You should be silly with them, asking if they'll fly you to Richmond.
You're like, hey, well, I mean, they go down the day before. I don't even spend the night in the hotel with them. I don't know if we're at Richmond this year. I think we only play them once. Oh no, we are
at Richmond at VCU.
We're at Richmond and VCU, although different weeks apart. Yeah. So anyway, but you had as nerve inducing as my drive home was, and again, it wasn't that bad. Chris did a great job. I never felt at any point like, this is getting dangerous out here. Even when it started snowing, I was like, still not bad. It wasn't until driving home myself that I was like, all right, it's, snow started to get there. So there's a little anxiety there, but apparently not nearly as much as you had watching the Netflix special. And it wasn't Star Searching Vince Champ this time. It was completely something.
I'm sure a lot of you out there, Alex Honnold, one of the greatest free solo climbers out there, climbed Chinese Taipei 101, 1,600-foot skyscraper. No ropes, just a man climbing a building, hanging on with his hands. So I've seen him climb El Capitan, which is, that's a rock face. And I've been there. That's 3,000 feet. And that's the whole, you either make it or you don't. There's no windows to crawl in midway through because I can go to the bathroom. It's you do it or you don't. And he did that one. So this one was good. It's supposed to be Friday night, but it was raining. And from his he said, I can't do it in the rain because glass steel gets too slick and just can't do it.
Of course.
So I tuned in Saturday night at work, and I had to watch. I hate heights. I work in emergency services. I don't climb ladders. I hate heights. Even sometimes look out an airplane, I get a little doozy. Watching him do this, besides the fact of the heights, because they had helicopters and drones and everything around him showing angles, and you saw how far he was. It's just him. No ropes. And you kept going, what if his hand slips? Oh my goodness. Are we going to have, a repeat of Carl Walenda back in the day when he came off that wire, right? So I would have to tune in and then I have to tune out because I would have to take a break because I'm sitting in a recliner in Maine and I'm just balled up in tension, like, and some of the angles that they show him hang, and that has nothing to do with the commentary, as many people have pointed out, because it was a horrible broadcast.
Oh, who did it? I mean, I know it was Netflix, but who were
It was three people.
Okay.
Elle Duncan, who is a former ESPN WNBA.
Not a fan.
Person.
Keep going.
Seth Rollins from the WWE.
Okay.
Not sure why, but okay.
Well, just because WWE is on Netflix now, but okay.
Thank you for pointing that out, because I was like, why did we get some random WWE guy?
They do. Monday Night Raw is on Netflix now.
Oh, well, all right. And then Emily Harrington, who's a professional climber, friend of Alex. It's fine.
Don't know her.
But it was horrible. Like, we've got this intense thing going on, and I'm going to lay this at the feet of Elle Duncan a little bit. Just chatterboxing. And it was just, you're not matching the moment. I don't know if they didn't give you enough to talk about. It just did not come off well.
I imagine, and I'm no fan of Elle Duncan, and that's fine because there are a lot of people that probably aren't fans of mine. So again, whatever. But I imagine they're probably in a studio in New York or LA or someplace. They weren't.
No, they were there.
They were there.
They were there. at the base. They had their own setup, just like, the NFL stuff in the stadium.
I was going to give her a pass because I was going to say it's probably very hard to do that from the studio when you're not there. So, yeah, you can feel the tension. But if they were there.
They were there.
Then there's no reason to. She probably felt like she had to fill every single moment and that there couldn't be silence. And something like that, more intense if you're just quiet.
Yes.
And you just have him doing his thing.
And now he was mic'd up. They had audio from him. So my thing would have been,
could they talk to him?
So I think they were having problems.
Okay.
And I think from his perspective, I would want to be able to talk to you, but I don't want to have conversations.
Yeah, no kidding.
Right?
Yeah, I don't
you can hear if I'm talking out loud to myself or something, but I don't want to have conversations.
Right. No, exactly. Now, this may have been a situation where they thought they were going to be able to talk to him back and forth. And then when they couldn't, she might have panicked and been like, well, now how am I going to have to fill the time? I'm going to have to talk. She should have. And again, I haven't seen the broadcast. I'm just guessing. But she should have just gone with, you know what? We'll have conversation here. But the more I lay out, the more intense this is going to be for people at home, because you're going to sit there and be like, why aren't they talking to him? Why isn't he saying? That's going to bring the edge and the anxiety for guys like you up even more than her constant chattering, if that's what was going on.
Yeah.
I'll have to go back and read about it.
Yeah. I mean, and Seth Rollins, again, I was so intense. Sometimes I wouldn't even focused on it. I kind of blocked them out because it was so chattery.
Right.
I would think if she was worried about filling time, they could have got rid of him and just had Emily, who's a climber, who could fill in with, oh, here's what's going on right now. It's almost like,
here's what he's thinking. Here's how he's plotting his next thing. Yeah, sure.
Exactly. Because I was thinking you guys should have did this like the rocket lifts off, NASA, SpaceX.
Yeah.
Those guys are calm. They're talking about what's happening. Right. There's a flow to it that they're just letting the moment build and they're just adding to it. But I felt like she was trying to just overcome everything and they got off on side tangent. I was just like, oh, but enough of them.
Right.
The tension. I mean, if you look at it, it's a square box and then it goes in a little bit and goes up further and goes in a little bit. So it was getting over the first boxes that I was just like, oh my God, he's just dangling off. Because here's in my mind, once he's at the next level, if he falls, yeah, he's probably going to get hurt or dead, but he's going to fall into the flat surface just below, right? Okay. So it's not going to be this long,
guy on the sidewalk.
Correct. Yeah. So once he got past that, took some of the tension off, but he had to climb overhangs at that point. So now he's hanging off just with his arms going up over to get to these other levels. And again, with the photography was actually pretty good where they were zooming around him and you could see and you saw how far up he was. And then he'd do things like stop on this arch and just stand there and look around. And the wind's blowing because you can see it on his clothes. Right. Obviously, it was at a safe speed for his climbing, but I was still like, just move away from the edge, please. Just move away. Even though he's just been hanging off the side of the building. Because that's how I am. Like, I will peer off an edge, but I stay away from it because of that. I call it the imaginary suck. Like, something's going to suck me off the edge.
Yeah, no, so. I get it. I saw the end, like the highlights, where he got to the very top and was staying there with the antenna or whatever it is, the spire at the top. And even that, when they showed like they're circling around and showing the view, I was like, nope, I don't. even if you just brought me up there on an elevator and said walk out, like I'd been like, yeah, I don't need this. Like I have no desire to go up in the Empire State Building to the top. That does not intrigue me on any level.
Yeah. Well, I've done that. I've done some other tall buildings, but my thing is I will get up there because I just want to see the view. I don't go to the edge. Like I stand like back in the middle of the room, 3 or 4 feet away. I'm not touching glass and just like, hey, that's pretty. But you get me to an edge and I start to lose it. I've seen the ones where, they put them in the glass that tilts out.
Yeah. Right.
So
Right. Well, it's like that scene in Ferris Bueller's Day Off when they go boom, when they lean forward when they're in the Chicago
Yes.
building, they go boom, and the three of them just put their forehead against the glass. Yeah, I'm like, no thanks.
Yep.
No,
One of the worst times where I sucked it up was the Arch in St. Louis.
Oh yeah, I've been up in that.
For
Yeah.
those who don't know, that is quite the trip to get up.
Yeah, it's cool.
You're in these little egg capsules that
Yep.
just keep going, keep going, keep going. It's not very big in the middle of the arch up there. It's a small room and
Yeah.
it's angled, so you're supposed to kind of lay down and look out. And then, for whatever reason that day, I could feel the sway, like the wind
yeah.
was pushing it, and I
Yep.
was like, "Okay, I am done. I'm going to go stand over here in case this thing comes apart." Even though at that point, God knows how many.
Heights don't bother me as much. I get claustrophobic now, and that's something that's new within the last, I don't know, 20 years, I guess it is, because heights, again, I'm not like thrilled to go up there, but I'm not bothered. Like I can look out an airplane window and I don't get freaked out about that. Planes don't bother me. I know a lot of people hate flying. Our head coach doesn't like flying. And Tony doesn't. He doesn't freak out, but he's just like, I'd rather not fly. I'm like, I get it. Some people aren't into flying. Like, to me, I'm just like, whatever, get on and go. It's fine.
Yeah.
But years ago, I don't remember where we were, but we were on vacation somewhere in the Caribbean, and they wanted to do those, they do the submarine that takes you down, and it's all glass, and you can look out. And I was fine until we started walking down, like going down the ladder into the little, whatever, glass bottom submarine, like whatever it is. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, I'm not going to be able to get out of here. Like this is it. This is it for the next half hour, 45 minutes, however long we're down here. You have no way out. Like you're stuck. And that I started getting pale and sweating and I just could not do it. And it's even to the point now, like just here a couple weeks ago, we were going to visit Carrie's sister lives over in Maryland. And so we were all taking one car. And I was like, I'll sit in the back, no big deal. Well, got in the back and didn't realize like the seat in front of me was like up like to here. Like, so, and then my knees were I was crowded. And I literally 3 minutes before we even got out of the neighborhood, I was like, I can't do this. You got to take me back home. I got to drive myself or something because I cannot sit back here. Because I just felt like I have no way of getting out. Like I'm back here. I didn't feel dangerous. It wasn't like, oh, if we get into a wreck, if we get hit from behind, if we get rear-ended, I'm going to die. Or something. It wasn't that. It was the idea of I'm constricted. Like I can't move around. If I had been sitting in the middle row or in the passenger seat in the very front, I've been fine. I can ride. I mean, I just did 6.5, 7 hours in the passenger seat on the way from Providence. Never even thought about it. But all the way in the back with the seat like here, I was like, can't do it. I'm going to be sick. I got to get out of here. So I don't know where that comes from because that kind of stuff never bothered me when I was a kid. And then now just all of a sudden, I just remember the first time that I was like, oh, this is a problem was doing that submarine thing. Which being underwater like that, like I would scuba dive tomorrow in a second. No problem. If I would love to be able to do that because being underwater like that doesn't bother me. It's not a panic thing at that point because you just take your time to go back up to the surface. You got to stop so you don't get the bends. You go up to a certain height and then finish all the way up. That wouldn't bother me. For some reason, being in that, I could have never have done that thing that those people exploded going to the Titanic when the thing, there's no way I could have done that because that I just been like, there's no way out. Like you were stuck. Can't go anywhere.
Well, talking to one of my coworkers, he was in the Navy for 8 years as an engineer on a sub.
No, thank you.
And I go, how? He goes, I don't know. Never bothered me. And I was like, what's the longest you were down? Never came up. He said 4 months. And I'm just
underwater for 4 months.
Yeah. I mean, the ship may have surfaced, but they never got out.
Right.
So on this one patrol, they were under, as he said, 4 months. Never saw
that's a giant
daylight except on TV.
There's the only difference with that is, I mean, if you're down there for 4 months, it's a giant that's a giant vehicle because they've got to have a cafeteria to eat and everything else. So it might have been. I might be okay with that because the space. I think it's the enclosure, like feeling like it's on top of you, because this thing that we were on, you could barely stand up to like move around. You were supposed to just go in and sit, and then they had a little porthole in front of you that you would just look through to see everything on the outside. So you're just sitting there, and there are people next to you, and the top is right on top of you. I just, for whatever reason, I was like, I can't do this. I don't know why, but I couldn't. And I was like, since then, I'm just like, any type of enclosure thing, cannot do it. I don't know what happened, but so yeah.
Interesting.
Heights don't bother me. That enclosure, that claustrophobic thing, I can't do it. So
well, the heights thing, I mean, watching TV show and I'm literally sweating, so I could feel myself. And again, it's sort of similar to you. I don't mind flying. I don't go, oh my God. It's just, I pitter patter, look out the window, okay, and then I'm good. Usually it's a couple drinks, but I don't freak out. But when I had the other house and I had to go clean my own gutters and I get up on that ladder and we're talking 10, 12 feet. And I'm like clinging on like there's no tomorrow for 12 feet on a ladder, cleaning a gutter out. There's just something, edges and heights that for whatever it is about me, it creates anxiety. And like I said, with that show, I had to tune out, calm myself down, tune back in. That's how, and I think it's not just the heights, but also, worried about, is he going to make it? Something weird going to happen. But yeah, I was in a huge state watching that. Good thing it was only an hour and a half. So he got it done.
So here's a question. I can go back and watch it, but if he's on the window, like how was he able to, like, I'm assuming the window was too wide for him to like kind of brace his arms. Like if he held them out to each side to push on the window edges, how was he able to go up the windows?
So it just the structure of the building allowed for, it's not just pure glass. Like he picked, there was corners and certain pathways he had picked that was metal on edges so there's hand grips. He pre-climbed it with a rope because as he said, I need to know if this thing's even possible.
Right. Yeah.
So he had done a pre-climb, I think a year ago when they were talking about just doing it. And he said, let me just see. And so he did the pre-climb, said, yeah, we can do this, but wind's got to be low and it cannot be wet. Cause I think it was wet one of the days he was he goes, there's no way I can just handhold onto this thing.
No, not on metal. When it's wet or glass, you're just going to slide right off.
Yeah. So, there was, like I said, it was done correctly of, hey, this corner has these ridges and I can use that to get to here and then switch over to there and climb up. Yeah. So yeah, it wasn't just him pressuring like Tom Cruise on the glass in Mission Impossible with sticky hands.
Right. Yeah, no, I didn't mean like climbing up that way. I meant like, if it was narrow enough that you could stick your arms out to the side and kind of, shimmy your way back and, up that way. I was like, I don't think from when I saw that building, I'm like, that glass is way too wide for that. But yeah, it makes sense if you're climbing up the corner.
It's to me, just thinking about muscle body control, the strength in his arms to be able to do all that is just phenomenal. I saw athlete.
Well, that's what I said. I saw a guy on Twitter, and I forget who it was, that put out and said, is he the greatest living athlete? I mean, it's a specialty. I don't know that I would say he's the greatest living. I mean, look, there are guys that are in every single major league sport. None of them could do what he does.
Correct.
But conversely, he can't do what they do.
Yep.
Like, so it's tough.
It's a specialty.
Right. It's tough to make that judgment because, you could be like, well, I mean, LeBron James couldn't do that, or, Steph Curry couldn't do that. Well, he couldn't score 20 in an NBA game. So, like, what are we talking about? Like, it's an unbelievable skill that he has, and he is certainly, in his discipline, probably the best that there is. But I don't know that you can say he's the best athlete on the planet because it's just a totally different thing.
Yeah, no, to me, it's, I mean, there is a physical component to it.
Oh,
to me, there's also so much more mental component to it, right? That you have to have the drive. I mean, I was talking to Seuss about it. I said, imagine standing in that building going, you can climb that. And immediately I'm like, I don't even know how. He looks at it and goes, well, we could do, like his mind is just, we can do this. And truth be told, if you put your mind to it, you can do it, right? As long as it's not raining, the wind's not too strong, it can be done. Right. And it's that mental fortitude to go, yep, and this is how we're going to do it. And to me, that's what I find amazing versus, he's the greatest athlete.
Well, so, yeah, I think clearly mentally, he's probably, if not at the top, you'd have to put him up there. And I don't know what our athletes you would say are mentally strong or whatever, but he would definitely be like you could make any argument that guy mentally isn't in the elite 1% of 1%, because you have to be, because there's no, okay, well, if I just, if I have a misstep for 5 seconds, it's not that big of a deal. Oh, it's a big deal. You're dead. Yeah. So there's no, you got to be locked in for an hour and a half of just nothing changing the entire time that you have to be mentally there. You can't be thinking about your Christmas list while you're climbing the bill. Like that doesn't work that way, So
yeah. Now he had a few stops. He was waving to people. His wife was on an observation deck as he was going up. I think honestly, and it may come out, like to him, was it dangerous? Absolutely. I think it was probably far easier to do this building than it was El Capitan, because
I agree.
There, you're just dealing with, here's where I'm at, and maybe there's a handhold, maybe there's not, right? You're just dealt with whatever you come across. Whereas the building, at least I've got a grips, there's metal, there's this, there's that, and it's half the height of El Capitan. So.
Well, and I think too, you're talking about, again, you mentioned the structure, that you grab a hold of that metal, it's not going to suddenly fall off. Whereas if you're doing something, the rock climbing, you don't know what's changed, and you go to grab something and it crumbles. And you're like, okay, well, that's not available to me anymore. I don't know. I've never done the rock climbing, but I would think that stuff like that happens when you start going up and all of a sudden your feet slide a little bit because that hold isn't as good as it used to be for whatever reason, rain, wind, elements. But yeah, I think probably if you asked him, he'd probably say, now, not that it was easy, but that it was not as challenging maybe as other things that he's done, because when you grab something, it's not going to twist, it's not going to turn, it's not going to slide, any of that stuff. Yeah.
And but what's there? Still, like you could sit there and take photographs close up from the ground and know all the way up. Right. That looks like this. This is possible here. Right. With the rock face, I'm sitting there going, you're searching for whatever, and then have to figure out how to make it work. And then I always wondered, well, what if you get to a certain point and there's just nothing else,
Well, you go back
and
down.
They said you go left, you go right. That's a whole different ball game than just climbing that building. So.
Right, because he knows he's just going in not a straight line, but he knows he's constantly be going up. There isn't going to be
there's a path.
There isn't any, and I got to go this way, and I got to go back this way. I got to go back down 10 feet to then go left and then head back up again. Yeah, there's none of that. For it, but yeah, clearly mentally, I know you can stop it. He still has to be completely locked in, paying attention to everything, every single movement that he's doing. So yeah, that's nuts. But anyway, good for him. Glad he made it. That would have sucked. That would have really put a damper into some Netflix live events if they're like just showing people splattering onto the sidewalk.
Well, they said, and because I wondered this stuff. I'm like, what if something had gone wrong? They were completely prepared. They said we were just going to cut away, and that was going to be it.
Yep.
So they had their plan in place.
Yeah. What else could you do?
Well, you diagnose it, right? It's what the rest of the news cycle does when something bad happens. We get footage, we have experts, we just go over it for hours and days on end. But Netflix said, no, we're just going to cut it, and that's going to be it.
Yeah. Well, why would you want L. Duncan and Seth Rollins to be there analyzing what happened? Oh, I guess he lost his grip. Yeah, you think? You think that's what happened?
That looks like it hurt.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know how you would. I don't know what you'd be able to do. So, I don't know. I just it is kind of dumb that you would have analysts for this. Again, I know why Seth Rollins is there because it's a WWE tie-in, but I'm not sure unless I'm not aware that Seth Rollins has some sort of like rock climbing background. He may. I have no idea. But it seems like they just kind of threw folks together and been like, all right, this is kind of a cross-reference for all these people that we use for our shows, so put them on.
Yeah,
that's what it feels like.
Just seemed like an odd pairing. That's what got me. Like, I get the one girl who's a professional climber.
Of course.
I guess you could have hired anybody to be the Elle Duncan role as the host and kind of leader, but then you mix in a WWE guy. Okay. I mean, you couldn't have had him just maybe do crowd reactions throughout the thing instead of being placed as a commentator for the entirety of it. That's the stuff that just said, who designed this show? You guys need to work on this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, they're kind of new at it, so they'll eventually figure it out, I guess. So
yeah.
Good for them. Do they have another one coming up? Did they say if there's anything else?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, this is just their continual foray into live programming. Obviously, Star Search. They've done some of the other fights. Obviously, that stuff's a little bit easier. But
did we watch Star Search last night? Did you see the Tuesday episode?
Did not. Unfortunately, had plans. Couldn't watch it, but I'll be at work tonight. Unfortunately, it comes on after our game, so I'll be able to tune one into one and then watch the other. So,
all right, that'll work. I'll expect a complete update next week. Hopefully I will not have another 6-hour travel to discuss next week at this point. So now are you guys there's supposed to be another storm coming up the coast. They're saying here that it's going to get pushed out to sea a little bit more. Like Carolina's going to get it, but it's going to go out to the ocean and pass us. Is it going to then curl back and hit you guys?
Well, to do that, it doesn't have to curl. Just
go straight up. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, as it drifts away from Virginia and North Carolina coming up the coast, Maine is actually, I can't remember how many miles east.
Like 100 miles, right?
Right. So it may curl away from Virginia, Carolina, but it'll clip the end of Massachusetts and hit us.
Right.
Not expecting anything major other than the discussion said. We haven't lost what we already have. It's not getting warmer. So we're just going to be adding on, a couple more inches of, permafrost.
Yeah.
April, May can't get here fast enough.
I'm 100% with you. I agree completely. All right. We've done an hour, a little bit plus of that. So if there's anything else that you want to get to, if not, we can call it a day.
No, I think we're good. We've talked enough about weather and heights, so
heights and everything else.
Kind of wore me out.
Any parting thoughts here?
Well, from the movie Cliffhanger, 1993, the cold doesn't care.
Yes, and I will go all the way back to Dr. Zhivago. The snowstorm has passed, but the snow remains.
This concludes this episode of Gen X Men with Bill Rowland and Gary Dollarhite. Gen X Men is now off the air.